Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about burnout, which is something that is very, very real to anyone who streams full time. It can be very, very crippling, but this is something that occurs not only just in streaming, but in a lot of areas of life. A lot of positions that people are in could carry a lot of burnout. So we're going to get into it today and talk a lot about what burnout is, what it looks like when you're streaming, what it feels like, and things you can do to kind of combat that or at least lessen the burden of how burnt out you feel at a certain time. Again, it's something that everyone experiences to some degree, whether it's extreme burnout or very, very light burnout, but it's something that everyone will come across if they are a streamer, just due to the nature of streaming. This can be really, really tough because streaming in general requires a lot of emotional and mental strength. It's something that as you're doing it daily, you go for periods of time where you are on, quote unquote. So you're talking with chat, you're doing all this stuff, you're in front of a camera, and anytime you're in front of a camera, you're gonna be engaging with people and talking with people, and that can take a lot of your social battery. It can run your social battery very, very quickly if you're not careful. But yeah, it can be very, very exhausting. And so when we talk about streaming, again, a lot of times people expect you to be very upbeat, very happy. People come to your stream because they want to feel good and feel happy and get positive vibes a lot of the time. I know a lot of streamers have different vibes and a lot of different things, but a lot of times people are looking to interact with you and engage with you. And sometimes when you're not feeling 100% yourself or you're experiencing burnout, it can feel really, really daunting to turn on that go live and press that button and be that person. So when I think of burnout, I think about those days where it's really, really hard to go live and it's really, really hard to be in front of that camera and talk to everybody and stuff, because a lot of the times it feels like burnout feels like you just want to go to sleep or you just want to lay in bed all day and not do anything because you're just exhausted from, you know, the days prior and the stresses of life and of streaming. And streaming comes with a lot of stresses. I mean, a lot of times there's numbers involved, there's sponsorship deals on the line, there's, you know, a lot of things happening in our games that we're playing that we need to focus on and stuff like that. And there can be a lot of stress day to day with streaming. So a lot of that can weigh on us over time, especially if we are spending, like I said, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day streaming. So it's important to note that this will happen at some point if you are a full-time streamer, and it's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean that you don't love streaming. It doesn't mean that you are not passionate about what you do. It doesn't mean that you're putting on a face or faking it when you go on stream and when you're going live. It just means that you're overworked and you're overwhelmed and you need to take a break. And that can look a lot of different ways for a lot of different people. So for me personally, when you come to my stream, I'm very high energy. I'm very all over the place. A lot of people will say that I scream a lot, that I'm very overwhelming, and that's okay. I get a lot of energy from reading chat. I get a lot of energy from the excitement that people bring to my streams, and that's often reciprocated just through, I'm kind of a vessel for that, and that's kind of just my energy. But at the end of the day, a lot of people aren't like that, but still can get burnt out. And the days that I feel burnt out, it seems very, very daunting to go to my stream and feel like I'm not going to be as high energy as I usually am. And on those days, what I like to do is I either will communicate with my community and say, hey guys, I need a day off. I'm not feeling great. I don't want to kind of half-ass the stream. I would love to give you my full attention, my full devotion, and I don't feel like I can bring that today. And what you'll notice is a lot of times communities are very, very, very supportive and understanding of that, because again, burnout is something that can happen anywhere to anyone, and it's something that people face in their day jobs and their day-to-day life. And so there's no difference that just because I'm behind a screen and just because my job is to interact with people daily and, you know, play a video game, it doesn't mean that I can't still get burnt out. And I think there is this sentiment a lot of times when people don't know a lot about streaming, they think, oh, you're just playing a video game, it can't be that hard, right? But at the end of the day, if you're entertaining a group of people, whether it's 1, 10, 20, 100, 1,000, if you're entertaining a group of people for hours on end each day, it can be very, very stressful to do that. It can be a lot of work. So when I feel burnout, I will communicate with my community, and I recommend that 100%. If you feel like you honestly cannot push that button and go live, if it's very, very crippling to that point, definitely communicate with your community and tell them, exactly how you're feeling. I think one of the biggest things in streaming is to be transparent and to be honest and to be genuinely yourself. And I think your community will respect you a lot more if you're doing that rather than pushing through, putting on a face and just hoping for the best. I think a lot of people will see through that. One of the things that I do and that I would highly recommend for burnout is to switch up your game. One of the things that I know a lot of my friends in the community do is they'll have a certain day, a certain number of days a week where they're playing marbles on stream or Stream Raiders or any type of game that will break it up and make it so you can kind of just talk with chat. Whether it's just doing it just chatting, even just chatting could be very relaxing or calming for someone that's usually playing, a high energy game. It can definitely change it up, and it can definitely still be a day where you go live and interact with people, but you're not doing it in, the capacity that you are when you're multitasking hardcore and playing a very stressful game and doing all these things. So I think that is something to consider as well. And that's something that's worked for me and a lot of my friends that are streamers, is just to change up your game. That's not only just going to reinvigorate like your stream and your chat, but it can give you a new love for the game that you're playing, that you might be burnt out because you're playing the same game over and over and over and over and over again. And, people know you for that game, so it might be scary to switch games. And I know that that's something that people have a lot of intimidation on. And, when in an environment where we're focused mainly on numbers, it can seem really, really tricky to switch games because a lot of times that does come with losing, a part of your audience that might not be into that game. It's not like they're gone forever, but I know that it seems a little scary, especially if you're working towards goals that require you to have a certain amount of viewership or whatever it is. But I think at the end of the day, you're gonna do more for yourself and you're gonna serve yourself better if you are taking that time to reinvigorate yourself mentally around what you're doing and how you're streaming and the games that you're playing, than if you just push through and try to get through that. Because not only will your chat see that, but you're just gonna keep going downhill as far as like your passion for the game, your passion for streaming, all of that stuff. And it's very important to note that once you get burnt out, you can really start resenting streaming if you're not careful about it, if you're not doing things for your mental health and for your burnout, so that you don't continue on that trajectory of just burnout to get to a point where you just can't even function anymore and you don't want to stream anymore. And I've seen that happen in communities. I've seen that happen for streamers, and it's not fun. It's not something that anyone wants to go through, which is why I do recommend being transparent with your community, switching up your games. Stuff like that can really, really help when it comes to burnout. But it's important to know that you're not alone. And that's one of the things that I really stress is, just because you are burnt out doesn't mean that you don't love streaming, doesn't mean that you're being fake in your streams and stuff like that. It just means that you are doing so much and taking on so much as a content creator that is, what a lot of us are doing a lot of the time. A lot of people don't see behind the scenes that we're working so hard on different social medias, posting clips, posting this, doing that. So it can be very easy to become burnout very quickly. But again, that doesn't mean anything about you or your passion for streaming or anything like that. It just means that you've taken on a lot and you need a break, and that's okay. It's okay. It seems a lot worse in the streaming community, in the live streaming community, especially because there is kind of this, hustle mentality around it, because we are live streamers. If we're not live every day, then there's this idea that someone else is going to swoop in and take your audience and blah, 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 which I totally don't agree with at all. I think as long as you're communicating with your audience, keeping them updated, then you're fine, and you shouldn't be worried about that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, the pressure is always going to be there, and it's something that you're going to have to learn to navigate. And it's really tough, I have to say. It is tough, but at the end of the day, know yourself, know your mental health, know what the signs are for burnout. Ask yourself, am I feeling exhausted emotionally, mentally, physically? Do I feel like I can't go live? Do I feel like it's so hard to press that go live button today? And why am I feeling like that? And if you understand the signs of that, if you're understanding why you're feeling that way, then, do things to make sure that you are doing things for you. It can feel a lot like in this community that we're giving. And, we do get a lot in return from our communities. We do get a lot of, monetary rewards and financial rewards and just emotional and mental rewards of people saying, you're my favorite streamer. You make my day better, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you still have to have time for yourself, and that's what's important. And if you need a day to do that, if you need a week to do that, if you need a month to do that, it's important to know that and to take that time before it's too late and you give up entirely on streaming. And so again, I wanted to address this because this isn't something that's talked about a lot in the community. It's really, really hard to deal with this and feel completely alone when a lot of people do not discuss this. But it is a real thing that exists in the community, and it is something that we should talk about because, again, everybody faces this to some extent. And I think it can feel really exhausting and really confusing when you experience this for the first time when no one else is talking about it. And so again, I think it's important that we talk about it. We don't look at it as a bad thing. We don't think of it as like, oh, you know, I'm burnt out. Do I really love streaming? Is it something, you know, I'm passionate about if I'm feeling this way? Everybody feels this way eventually, and it's important to know that you're still a good streamer. You're still worthy of, you know, the viewership that you get. A lot of people have imposter syndrome once they have burnout. You're still worthy of the community that you've built and stuff like that, and you're still entitled to stream again. It's just you need a break, and you need to notice that. You need to identify with that and do something about it. And again, that's the most important thing, is if you let it go on and ignore it and let it build to a huge mountain, then it's just going to be something that is just not something that feels like you can't overcome it. And you need to be able to do that. So when you are feeling those signs of burnout, get in touch with your body, get in touch with your mind, and understand what you need to do. Whether it's taking time off, whether it's playing a different game, whether it's talking to a friend about it, whether it's talking to your community about it, whatever it is, do what you need to do, because at the end of the day, it's gonna make you a better streamer. And once you can start identifying it on a regular basis and doing things to minimize the burnout or take care of the burnout, you're gonna be able to get into a routine where you are overcoming that on a daily basis, or you're overcoming that as it happens, and you can move forward and be productive. And every time you overcome it, it's gonna feel better for you. So get in that habit of learning to overcome burnout, learning how to deal with it, and you'll be doing all the right things and you'll be in a great place. If you are a streamer, I would love to hear your thoughts on burnout and how you've experienced it and what you've done to overcome it, so that we can all learn and grow together. Again, guys, if you've learned anything from this video, if there's anything that you've gotten from this video that you really loved or enjoyed or learned, please feel free to like and subscribe. That would be the best. It would really, really make me happy. We are definitely pushing for YouTube partner. It's something we really want to accomplish. So if you can do that, that would mean the world to me. Share this video to any streamer you know that might be going through this, so that they know that they're not alone, that this is something that is definitely a big part of the community, definitely a big part of streaming, and they're not crazy for feeling this way. And if you would like to catch more of my content, feel free to join me on twitch.tv/KatiePierce on Monday through Fridays at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will see you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Adios.